Yo, 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 good people. It's your homie HerbMan busting you back upside the head with another hot banger boogie. Hey, look, go tell somebody that your homie HerbMan is on. And if this is your first time tuning in to the HerbMan show, go ahead and hit that logo right at the bottom of your screen right there and hit that notification bell so that you never ever miss what we bring to the table. All right. So if you're ready, let's get right into it. We're talking about African traditional diet, okay? And I am a big fan of indigenous diets. Although I still believe that you need a varied diet, you also always need a variety of different foods so that you can get the right balance of vitamin and mineral nutrition that you need. But I'm telling you, these indigenous diets, they do something with the DNA, with the ancestral understanding, the inertia of our body. It really communicates properly with our cells if we eat the right foods. And today we're going to expose to you some of the great foods from our tradition that you guys may have heard of and you may not. So stay tuned. Here we go. So we all know about slavery, and we all know the effects that slavery has had on our world as a whole. And we can also go into depth and talk about some of the mental disparities that slavery has had, the emotional effects of it, the spiritual effects of it, the physical effects of it, all the way down to how it has affected the diets of those that were from the diaspora, okay, or mass dispersion of people from Western Central Africa, okay. So understand that the transatlantic slave trade did not only do damage to a people from so many different angles, it also affected the diet. But also understand too that these people held on to some traditional things, and although they got mass dispersed into areas like Central America, South America, Central America, the American South, the Caribbean, and things of that nature. We still held on to a lot of the base foundational foods that we used to eat. So I want you guys, when you actually do look at this video, see how we kind of kept some of the same things going, although we were dispersed and although we were so far away from each other. Some things we still had together, okay? And so understand that this transatlantic slave trade happened in about the 15 to 1800s, and as we got mass dispersed once again from places of Western and Central Africa, we got relocated into the Americas, okay, the Central Americas, South Americas, and the Caribbeans, as well as the American South, okay? And when we did this, we pretty much took our foundation of leafy greens and vegetables and tubers and things of that nature, and we also blended it in with the different cultures and the cooking styles and the foods of that locality, okay? And so we come with a whole lot, when we hit you upside the head with our meals, and therefore that's something unique for us to understand, because again, that's where variety comes in at. So people who want to prescribe to this particular African traditional diet will have a variety of foods just based on how our diets were even cultivated from the beginning, okay? And we have a lot of influences from French and the Spanish and the African in our meals, okay? And because those are the channels that we came through, and those were some of the places that we landed that the French were still in control of, the Spanish were still in control. And so we took what that was local in those regions, as well as their cooking styles, and blended it into our own foundational meals. You see what I'm saying? And so that's one of the cool things about us as a people, that sometimes we don't realize where we get some of our taste buds from, where we get some of the palettes and some of the recipes that we are used to hearing. And to understand that some of these foods have been with us for hundreds and hundreds of years is incredible to understand. But I think that we've lost sight of how nutritional some of these foods were and how beneficial they were, especially to the climate, to the human being in the particular climate that we were in. When you're working outside, man, you need a lot of energy because you're burning a lot of energy. And so a lot of the diet was based on energy foods, okay? And so the difference between now and then is that you're eating some of the same foods, but you're not burning as much energy. And so when you're living sedentary lives and you're not burning nearly as much energy as you should because you're not in the sunlight, you're not walking, you're not, traveling by foot as much, you're not out there, in the sun being exposed as much, sweating as much, moving around as much as you used to. So we eat these carbohydrates and we get a lot of this energy food in us, but we don't burn the food. And when we don't burn the energy, then it goes and stores itself into what? Fats in our bodies, okay? So you want to be definitely careful about those things. And so what are the places that we're talking about? So we're talking about Western and Central Africa, okay? And we're talking about South America, we're talking about the Caribbeans, and we're talking about the American South, all right? And that's kind of where we got mass dispersed to. But in that, you're also talking about if you're looking at these particular different recipes or plates of expression, so to speak, then you'll see that although we got dispersed in different areas, we kind of kept some of the same traditional food groups at particular times. If you see that in Western and Central Africa, they had a basic a peanut soup, black-eyed peas and jollof rice, and a chicken yassa. Okay, and that's kind of, what traditionally came out of this particular region, right? But what I look at is a soup, beans and rice, and a chicken or a fish or a vegetable plate at the end. Okay, that's what I'm looking at. So when you look at this, look at how they continued to follow the same regimen. So even in South America, they started with a vegetable and rice soup, black beans and rice, and a watercress salad. The Caribbeans was a pumpkin soup, red beans and rice, and maybe a red snapper, okay? The American South, you got the shrimp gumbo from Louisiana, you got the hoppin' john, and you got the catfish, okay? So as you can see, that it's kind of the same regimen, although we were in different regions. And that is so important because we really have not lost what it is that we started out with traditionally. Now we've blended in a lot of other different diets, and that's what's so important about understanding the African traditional diet, so you'll know what is indigenous to you, what really speaks to the cells, and what really speaks to the energy of these people from this diaspora. But as well, you need to understand that this is energy food. So if you're not doing as much as the people in these regions would do on a daily basis, then you would need to do that in order for you to really get the benefits out of these foods. So foods at each meal during an African traditional diet normally consumes of greens, some type of greens, whether it was callaloo or whether it was turnip greens or whether it was kale or things of that nature. But you always wanted to have some leafy green vegetables on each plate, okay? And each plate consists of fruits and vegetables and small things of grains like a millet or a fournois or something like that, or beans and peas, or tubers like a squash or a yam or something like that was always on the plate. And right here again, this is your energy food. And then we would have herbs and spices and sauces, and instead of hot sauce, try some harissa. And you can buy harissa in the grocery store right now. It may be in the Indian aisle, but that's where a lot of the spices that we used to use in that beret and all that type of stuff that is very good for you. And then we would have maybe 2 or 3 times a week, we would have a fish or a seafood, okay? And we very seldomly ate eggs and chicken and other meats, very seldomly, really celebratory foods, okay? But we always made sure that we had some healthy oils in our cooking. on a daily basis, whether that be coconut oil or extra virgin olive oil, all right, or red palm oil. These are our healthy oils that we cook with in our diaspora, all right. And we very seldomly ate dairy, but if it was going to be dairy, it was going to be plant-based dairy, like a hemp milk or something like that we would consume, and we would consume that on a daily or weekly basis. But remember, it was a plant-based milk, all right. And then just as occasionally as we would have poultry and meats, we would have sweets, okay? Because normally those would go together. When we would have the big feast is when we would have the sweets and the meats, okay? So sweets and meats were normally going to be celebratory food items that we would have and that we would stick into our diets, and it was okay because we seldomly did it. So, but it also added variety. It also gave us protein when we needed it. When we needed that extra protein. It also was a time to where when you ate meats, you probably didn't eat a whole bunch of vegetables, or it was during a season to where you would eat meats during this particular season, or maybe during the winter, because there was no vegetables. Okay, and then you would allow those vegetables to replenish itself. All right, and then when spring came back up, you would lay off your livestock, and you allow your livestock to replenish itself, and then you would just be vegetable based. It's things like that you got to understand, and you got to know that we were doing back in those times. Now, when you look at some of these foods, and if you're wondering, like, okay, well, if I'm sitting at home watching this video, what can I do right now to go ahead and start trying to get on this particular diet? And those are things that you can really swap out, and you can get a lot of this information from oldways.org. Oldways.org is a really good program to you for you to really get some understanding. And I'm not going to say that everything on there is 100% accurate, but it really can give you a good start at understanding what you need to be eating pertaining to your indigenous diet. All right. So now, if you like spinach, all right, and spinach we know have a good iron intake, maybe try some collards, maybe try some. If you like arugula, try some mustard greens. If you like pomegranates, try some passion fruits. If you like cannelloni beans, then try black-eyed peas. If you like eggplant, try okra. If you like potatoes, try the yucca. If you like walnuts, try peanuts. If you like quinoa, try millet. If you like salmon, try the red snapper. Again, if you like hot sauce, try harissa. If you like garlic, try ginger, okay? And these are some of the things that will bring you back onto your traditional herbs and spices and vegetables and things that you used to eat that will still give you some of those same flavors, or maybe even different flavors, but they will speak volumes to your cellular structure. And that's the real key to this particular program right here. All right. And so I definitely want you guys to understand that. If you guys need a food list, a grocery list, again, you can go to oldways.org. They got it on there, or you can holler at me and I can get it to you via email. But this information is very critical for us to understand. Now, some of the things that come out of Africa, we know, are the leafy greens, the root vegetables, the tubers and the beans. Some of the other stuff that come out of Eastern Africa would be the grains, the vegetables, the cabbage, the kale, the cornmeal. We all know about the injeri bread that comes out of Ethiopia and Somalia. Some of the African American stuff, when we're talking about cabbage and okra, tomatoes and peppers and greens and things of that nature, and dandelion, mustard and collards and turnip greens, those things were African American traditional things that we used to eat. Now, when you're talking about the Afro-Caribbean, where there's about 23 million people down there, okay? And they brought in the tropical fruits and the tropical foods like papaya and guava and the rice and peas dishes, okay? And they brought in the coconut milk and the breadfruit and the callaloo and the yams and the plantains and the annatto and the pumpkins and stuff like that. All that was incorporated into the foods came from the Afro-Caribbeans, okay? And then the Afro-South American, which there's about 100 million people. Now we're talking about Brazilians and things of that nature, okay? Now when they came in with the soups and the stews, and they also came in with the rice and the beans, and they also came in with the mangoes and the guava, so and the okra and the peanuts and all that type of stuff. So as you can see that that no matter how much we got dispersed, no matter what locale we was in, we kept a foundational understanding of a vegetable soup. And this is where I'm gonna break this down at. A bean and rice, whether it was black-eyed peas and rice, red beans and rice, black beans and rice, we had a bean and rice, okay? And then we had a salad for dinner. It was a salad for dinner. Every so often we had a little chicken, all right? But mostly we had red snapper and catfish. See how I put that together? So if you got 5 days in a week, here go 4 of your recipes. 4 of your recipes, and you add mangoes, and you add your fruits, and you add to it your tubers, and you add to it other things, and you'll see that now you're getting somewhere with what you're supposed to be ingesting, what you're supposed to be eating, what you're supposed to be thriving off of. And this is the things that I'm trying to tell you that are very, very important to us. Now, the things, again, that we should be eating more often are asparagus, beets, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cabbage, carrots, cauliflower, eggplant. Like I said, you can switch garlic out for ginger, green beans, lettuce. Try to understand about the acidic and the alkaline foods, all right? And try to stay away. When we say onions, think about purple onion, okay? Think about a purple onion or a sweet onion, okay? Something that is indigenous, that needs to be real and tangible, that has color base to it, okay? So that you'll know that although I'm telling you about foods, I'm more or less telling you that these foods, the most important thing is that you need to get them organic as possible. Grow them on your own if you can, okay? To know that they are organic, all right? Or know the grower that you're getting your stuff from, to know that they're organic. Or look at some of my other videos that will tell you about how to tell when something is organic or not, all right? And then that way, when we're reading off these foods, you want to be saying, well, you said go do this because I want you to understand that if it's not organic, it's gonna do you some harm anyway. It needs to be authentic, all right? Authentic, indigenous, alkaline to the place where it comes from, all right? And so you need to really understand where these foods come from and then try to get them from those areas, all right? We're talking about fruits and vegetables, avocados and blackberries and cherries and dewberries and mangoes and papayas and pomegranates and tamarinds and watermelons and all of these different things that are good for you if they got seeds in them, okay? Only if they got seeds in them are they indigenous, are they real, are they organic enough for you to really consume and get the cell food out of them that you're needing, okay? So that's why this is very, very important for us to understand moving forward. I can't read off all of these to you, but I want you to understand that these are the things you need to be looking for. Again, if you need this information, go on to oldways.org, or you can email me or leave a comment below and we'll try to get you this information. But you can go there. Like I said, I don't agree with all of the stuff that's on there because, again, you need to make sure that you still have a proper balance of foods and understanding where foods come from and their authenticity. All right, that's very, very important moving forward for your health. But it is a very, very great start for us to understand how to prepare our foods, the origin of our foods, the origin of our taste buds, how we can get back to understanding of how to prepare our foods and how we can intertwine our ancestral foods with our modern times and be able to get the fulfillment out of the foods and out of these bodies that we're putting this food in as we move forward. All right. So, hey, look, man, if you guys got any questions, please let me know. If you guys got any concerns, please let me know. And again, this is fruitful information and I hope you guys grow from it and I hope we planted a seed. I love you guys. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And go tell somebody to go tell somebody. Until next time. Peace. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.